Welcome, everybody, to the 2024 Fantasy Football Mills and Friends League finale. I'm your commissioner, Scott Mills. And the league season is over, and there is a champion. We're going to go ahead and start with the last place team getting the Turd King Award, which will be Shaq91, losing to Don Preston's team. Total score of 143.58 to 106.28. You get nothing for being in last place, except for the little emoji and me saying something. And then for the other places here, we had our 10th place game. I know that this was a pretty, this was actually pretty sought after victory from both sides between Mills Cards and Ludina, my parents. And we had Team Mills Cards coming on top by 10 points with the final score of 106.7 to 96.8. So nice job there from Team Mills Cards. Let's take a look at this matchup if we can. Well, I don't know if it's going to let us. But then there was the champion. The champion was, congratulations to the Lamb Chub Play Along team, as Team SG Mills is the owner, for winning by a final score of 147.86 to 114.34 from Spooky Season team. Dominic Gennaro is the owner. And yeah, I know that this matchup, definitely Baker Mayfield was a big part of it. Let's see if I can, right here, let's take a look at this matchup here. For our championship game, I believe that this is the second championship in this league for the Lamb Chubs Play Along team. So I have some catching up to do among the Mills family championships. It does not make me feel good. That I have 0. My dad has 1, and now my brother has 2. So I definitely have some catching up to do in future years. So yeah, as I was saying, Baker Mayfield, who used to be a Browns player, got the win for him. And actually, I was told by the Phoebe's Warriors team, who was the 2 seed going into the playoffs and who Lamb Chubs Play Along knocked out of the playoffs in the semifinals round. He says, he has told me, and this was beforehand too, and he had mentioned it's okay that I can bring this up now, but he has a Baker Mayfield jersey because he was a fan of Baker Mayfield when he came to the Browns and was initially a Browns fan when Baker Mayfield was with Cleveland. And, well, after Cleveland traded Baker Mayfield away, he was no longer a Browns fan, and then he kind of moved on for Baker too, I guess, and so he didn't want the Baker Mayfield jersey anymore. So he had told me, hey, Scott, whoever wins the championship this year can get a Baker Mayfield jersey. And so, to Lamb Chubs Play Along, if you want it, there is a Baker Mayfield jersey with your name on it. And we can work on getting that to you the next time that we meet up with Chance, who is the Phoebe's Warriors team's owner. And we can see if you want that. So, and with Baker Mayfield being a big reason why you won, that like I could see definitely wanting that. That's kind of a cool storyline there. So then you had Jonathan Taylor had a big game, which he traded for from the Phoebe's Warriors team. So that obviously worked out very well for Lamb Chubb's play along team in the end, with Jonathan Taylor doing so well. Joe Mixon did not have a great game. Jerry Jeudy, I know there was some worrying because the number one first round draft pick from way back was CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb went out unexpectedly, and the only player that he could play was Jerry Jeudy. And Jerry Jeudy did come up big with 12 catches for 94 yards. So he had a very big day. He's basically like the only Browns wide receiver to throw to besides David Njoku, who's a tight end. So, yeah, he just got a ton of volume. He caught a good amount of his passes, even though the Browns only scored 3 points in the game. He's basically the majority of the offense, and basically all of the passing offense was Jerry Jeudy for the Browns. And then you've got Xavier Worthy over here, had a pretty big game as well. Did catch that touchdown along with 8 receptions. So again, the Kansas City Chiefs offense coming alive in a week that was most important for Lamb Chubb's play along, and that got some big points there. So that was another reason for the big win. And then Baltimore's defense, which really hadn't been that good in the early parts of the year, finishing super strong, only giving up 2 points a safety, which that was the offense's fault, giving up the 2 points. Other than that, they pitched a shutout, Baltimore's defense did. So everything just went 100% right for Lamb Chubb's play along in order to win this. And one of the lower point totals on the year for spooky season just coming at the wrong time with 114.34 points. Derrick Henry was good as usual. Brian Thomas from Jacksonville had another pretty nice game. Amon-Ra St. Brown was good. So you had some decent games. It wasn't like a terrible score, but Jake Ferguson really hurt. Only 0.3 points at tight end position, ending up being a big issue. And James Conner really did nothing for Arizona here either. I think he went out with an injury early in the game, which is why he only had 4 carries and 3 targets. So just things not going right. And then, of course, Houston getting shut out, so the kicker got 0 for there. But the Vegas defense did do well for him as well. But it just wasn't good enough. The 147 is a pretty big score when everything's going well, which is exactly really the one thing that could have beaten the spooky season this year, because spooky season, number 1 scoring team all season long, and yeah, they just needed to go up against them. You just had to have everything go right, and that's what happened for the Lamb Chubb's play along team, which came in as like the 4 seed, I think. Yeah, the 4 seed. And in terms of total points scored, it looks like number 4, which is kind of interesting. Seeking Forgiveness team was number 5 in total points scored, but ends up as the last place team after losing out in the lower bracket. I don't know that he was paying a ton of attention once he was in the lower brackets, which is probably part of that. But you can see the discrepancy here in the total points scored. A huge lead there going into it. With Emmy was the second highest, and Emmy got bounced in that first round. Was that first round exit to Lamb Chub play around? No. No, it was to Uh, Anthony's team, Return of the King. So, yeah, you can see Lemtra play along. Goes through Egg Ball Elite. Goes through the 2 seed Phoebe's Warriors, where Phoebe's Warriors did put up a 126. So his opponents had 120, 126, and a 114. And yeah, just really good scores. The lowest one was this first round where he just squeaked by with a 3-point win. Um, and then he had 140s the last 2 weeks. He had 147 both of the last 2 weeks. So the team just caught fire at the correct time. And that was it. I did say I was going to go over this Mills Cards and Team Ludina matchup because there definitely was. They were paying close attention to it, I will say, to see who could win this one. And yeah, again, the Chiefs' offense really helped here with Team Mills Cards, getting the 26 points out of Patrick Mahomes, only 7 out of C.J. Stroud as Baltimore pitched that shutout that we saw. So that was the big deal there. Tyjae Spears over here, decent at the running position. Josh Jacobs over here won this matchup. And then we had Justin Jefferson with a decent game over here. At Teams Mills Cards, DeAndre Hopkins for Kansas City. Kansas City did pretty well, but Xavier Worthy was the big receiver, not DeAndre Hopkins. There for Kansas City. But Team Mills Card was still able to pull it out. I mean, you're looking at some of these scores. It's like, man, I see a win over here. I see a win here. I see a win here. I see a win here for Team Ludina. And then in the end, only 96 points. So that was pretty tough to see there. Jameson Williams, Trey McBride had really good games. Tyreek Hill was decent over here for Team Mills Cards. And over here, it's really this McMillan, Tampa Bay wide receiver with 20 points. Really boosting for Team Mills Cards there to get that win over there. Elijah Moore for the Browns, not doing much of anything. Jerry Jeudy is getting all the action for the Browns offense. And so this is where you can see where the Team Mills Cards was winning all of these bottom half matchups on the flex players and the kicker and the defense. But still, not terrible. The Elijah Moore was really bad. Romo Dunes was really bad for Team Ludina. And then Devon Achane, who had been typically very good, just really did not do anything for her. And then at the quarterback position. So those are the things that really hurt there. So that's it. This was the finale. Congratulations to the teams that won. And hope to see everybody back next year if they want to be. I'll be reaching out probably next summer to determine who wants to come back. And if you haven't paid yet, I'll be reaching out here this week, and I'll be sending out the payments here in the next couple days out to the Lamb Chub Play Along and Spooky Season for winning first and second place. I did get a suggestion that we, since we only pay out to 2 teams, like the teams that make it to the championship game right now, I did get a suggestion. We used to do $10 to the highest scoring team every week. We kind of went away from that, and I think we're going to stay away from that. But maybe in the future, the highest scoring team on the year, not necessarily the 1 seed, but the highest scoring team on the year can maybe get their entry money back in terms of at the end of the year. So, like, in terms of Spooky Season, they could get their money back plus whatever the second place winnings would be, and then, which I think is get the money back too. So he could have gotten 150 back, and then everything else goes to Lamb Chubb's play along. Which I think the second place was a little bit more than just money back, um, but yeah, whatever. It would just have been in addition having that total point scored. So I think that might be a good one to do. So we have potentially 3 different payouts there. It's like, hey, you're the best team this year. You like if you happen to lose, like it's not on you. Like you can get your money back. So at the very least. So that's gonna be it for fantasy football for a little while. I'll probably be going back to doing some video game streams here in the future. I did an Indiana Jones and the Great Circle one or yesterday, so that was kind of fun. A little bit different content than football, so those of you that aren't into video games, I guess, out of luck there. I'm not doing like fantasy basketball or fantasy hockey or anything like that, which I have done those both before. Fantasy hockey only once or twice. And then we do on this channel, we'll post sometimes our fantasy video games draft, which we actually have to get my friend Eric, who is part of that league, the loser. There was a little thing we said had to eat as many pancakes as they lost by in terms of score, and yeah, he lost by a lot more pancakes than he'll be able to eat. So it's just however many pancakes you can eat. So that was kind of fun. So I do some other fantasy stuff, but don't have anything planned in terms of the fantasy sports. And we might be doing the 2025 fantasy video games draft, streaming that on Sunday. I think we might be able to do that Sunday morning, do the pancakes, and then drafting the new teams. That's kind of what I'm hoping. But we'll see. You'll just have to stay tuned for that. So, without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the fantasy season this year. And then, until next season, next year, have a happy new year, everybody. And I'll talk to you all